So today, as our main topic is generative AI in finance and accounting. So this is a technology that has been simmering under the hoods for last few years, but it came into explosion at the end of 2022 with ChatGPT and then subsequently Google Gemini. And people were so amazed by its human-like interface, its ability to answer in just a human-like way. So people are very curious about it, and there has been so much. It's been actually a talk of the time. There's so much speculation around the nature of the technology. So and there is also a lot of risk and discussion of risk and what it can do for humanity. As Aisha has introduced, is Nabeel Mirza and Farzad. We are going to present this. Before diving into technical areas, I just want to first motivate us about the use of this technology and why we should come and use it. I have seen many sort of responses as to why people are coming to it. I have been speaking to our accounting community. I have been speaking to our colleagues, and have been speaking to wider audience also. And what I am seeing is that there are few mindsets that are coming into play when people are looking into this technology. One is threat-based mindset. People are feeling threatened by it. People are feeling that it's going to take their job. People are feeling that it's going to destabilize human civilization and society. Then there is a mindset of FOMO, fear of missing out. When everyone is learning it, then why should not I learn it? I just want to see what everyone is going to benefit from it, how they are going to use it in their business for their potential personal advantages. So people are coming to replicate other move in this area. Some people are like, I'm already too busy. I just want to come here. I want to just learn a bits about it because maybe it's a requirement from my organization, and I just don't want to do anything more than it than just to see, what is minimum required for me to learn. So this is a question that is our main motivation here. I am asking all of you to ask yourself why today you have decided to join this webinar. Not in terms of what you are getting out of it, but what do you feel about this technology that has that has made you to come and register for this webinar. And as we work through this workshop, we will try to enlighten you, try to open your brain about it. We'll try to give you new perspective, and then we will revisit this question, and we will see at the end of it how do you feel like that. Um, Now, in my next area, I want to see uh, Mr. Cyberdyne Model 101 Terminator. We are all aware of Arnold Schwarzenegger, and we are all aware of Terminator. So, one question that I keep coming across is that when artificial intelligence is going to become conscious, and this is a very interesting question. But the thing is that consciousness is a very rare phenomena in society. It's in the universe, not many beings have found to be conscious. For us beings, we are the only known species that are conscious to our level. Animals, different breeds are found to be conscious at very small level, but apart from us, consciousness is a very rare phenomena, and we have not yet found any other example of consciousness. So machines to come to consciousness is should not be your main way of looking at this technology. Uh, it might, no one can certainly predict about future, but the way this current technology is, and what our understanding of uh, systems that give rise to consciousness, that should not be your main motivation for looking into generative AI. There is no present scenario that this technology can become conscious and take over our society and humanity. Uh, so this is definitely not a way to analyze this technology, but more realistic mindset that is coming into everyone vision, and we have seen examples of that is our ability to work and earn for our livelihood. The most recent wave of this was in 19th century when the skilled craftsmen were reduced to workers because of industrial revolution, and there was a big movement called Luddite movement in England, where people who were mainly working in textile industries, when they saw textile looms powered by machines coming and weaving clothes, they become very furious, and then there was a movement which was actively focused on destroying these machines, because people were saying that before this industrial revolution, we were craftsmen, uh, um, we were like, Michelangelo's of our time, where we used to craft out a piece of equipment, by working on it. But then you took us to a family floor kind of place. So this is nothing new. We have seen it in past, and we are now being called to come into fifth industrial revolution. So that industrial revolution certainly went from one phase to another. It's changed the very nature of the job, since we saw the one big change toward the beginning of 20th century, because by industrialization, by factory floors, and now we change around 50 years ago by the introduction of computing. We saw the rise of the knowledge worker, and now we are going into another revolution. So which is I would say the rise of application worker, someone who is going to apply their knowledge. So we have been seeing this trends, and this is simply a continuation of that trend. Nature of work, nature of job is going to change. What do you think about, Farzad? Microsoft is a big organization and is working with a lot of its customer base. What do you think? How Microsoft is internally motivating its own employees and customers to adopt this technology for their betterment.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great question. In short, I think Microsoft is doing everything we can to empower organizations and people to achieve more. And how do you do that? It's through the groundbreaking innovation that we've seen in advancements of data science, analytics, and AI, or artificial intelligence. And so, whether your job is physical in a field, whether it's a finance accounting professional, an engineering professional, like with the background that I came from, AI has a role to play in every single job market and every single job function, and with the main goal of making lives easier and empowering you to achieve more and just be more effective and efficient in your job. And so there's a lot of technologies like large language models. I know we're going to talk about that. Prompt engineering, things that everyone could kind of take away from this session and actually bring back to your job, whatever your tasks may be in your personal or professional life. So I think it's going to be a lot of value, and there's a lot of tools out there through Microsoft, through other open source products as well, that can help you get started.
No, definitely. Thank you for that. And this is exactly, you have heard from someone who is working in one of the largest technology firms in the world, Microsoft, which has got so much influence over our life in form of Windows, its product, and Microsoft is a big investor and contributor with OpenAI. So the aim is of this technology is definitely not to replace human beings, but to empower them in a way that they become more productive. So continuing on this theme, I would just further simulate your imagination by asking a very interesting question. Banking is in existence since last 400 years, So banking is not a technology enabled business, technology make it more powerful, but it has been there before technology. Uh, People ask about what kind of jobs are going to be there in next 20, 30 years. So my simple take is that put this question on your head and just ask yourself, we have got ride hailing companies like Uber, Ola, we have got Kareem in Pakistan, Middle East. So, and then we have got Just Eat, Food Panda, I know all these apps. Ask yourself, was it possible for these companies to exist in 1960s? And what has made them possible now? And what kind of jobs they have created. So businesses takes the lead. Business are the utilization of technology to create product and services for the society, and in demand businesses uh, need human skill workforce that can enable those services and technologies. So just think about it. If those services that we could not even think of 20 years ago are now very much part of our lives, what kind of a businesses are going to emerge in next 20 years, 15 years time, even 10 years time, that will utilize all of this great technology, and what kind of human skill set they will require. And this is our main motivation. Don't think about your job, think about businesses that are going to come into play, businesses which organization like Microsoft, Google, Facebook are going to enable, and you as a human being individual needs to work with these in these organization, and what kind of skill set you are. So we are looking at a shift in skill set rather than taking it away from human beings. So now let's start coming to our technical area. I would say that for you to get best out of it is to leave your imagination run. you know all we are asking you today is nothing but a playful mindset, nothing but your imagination, and you will see practically how imagination is going to play an important role in this generative AI technology, which is now based on natural language processing interfaces that are very human like. So I'm going to invite all of you, have a playful mindset, unleash your imagination, and let's dive us in this with us. I hope all of you are in a safe or environment. I'm just going to close my eyes, and I'm inviting all of you, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and just start this journey with a motivation. You know, be relaxed. It's going to be a very informative and exciting journey. So, a lot of people I know are coming from finance background here, and for them, AI seems like an enigma. AI seems like a black box, something that they don't understand. So let me start by this simple statement that AI is actually simple. And above statement is a massive understatement. AI is simpler than what you think it to be. The underlying maths, the underlying thing that enable this technology is very simple. And we all know that intuitively. We all, if we have to find some unknown, we always start by something that is known, and then we put our experience to modify those known elements to trace and find an unknown element. And but what happened is that in the beginning of 18th century, there was a guy named Gauss, who is a very big name in statistics. He created an equation for linear regression, which simply says that y is equal to wx plus v. Y is an unknown, X is your node, and W is your experience plus some error. And believe me or not, some of you might recognize it. It's called linear regression, and it's based on class A8's math. So that's how simple the underlying mathematics is. obviously there is no denying of the fact that it is then powered by a lot of complex equations, a lot of complex mathematical models, but the underlying soul of this technology is as simple as that. You try to find unknown from a known, and that is what AI is trying to do. So you should have always have some known that you need to use to predict an unknown. Is not a magic lamp. Uh, and the famous neural network, that's how it is represented. If you represent it diagrammatically, that is what a neural network simply is. That's what it looks like. That is what it is represented. That's what the whole functions work. So rest assured, there is not an alien technology. Is not something that an ordinary human being cannot comprehend. So the question now is, using this simple technology, what kind of monster or that they have created that we generally tend to become afraid of? And the answer is that generative pre-trained transformer kind. In chat gpt, your gpt is generative pre-trained transformer kind, which is a large language model, which we called as large language model. And what simply happens is that, when you talk about Google Bard or chat gpt, what really has happened is that these big technology companies have very huge computing power at their disposal, and then they are able to scrape a lot of data from internet. That data was everything and anything they could find. Trillions of terabytes of data they took. That data was some law books, some accounting book, um, literature, Shakespeare, whatever they could found. And what they did was that they start feeding this data to a particular architecture of neural network, and then they kept training it, and then they kept interacting with it, and they simply then found that it sort of got an ability to correspond with human beings, and it was able to produce text. And through then, what they called is, you know, fine tuning, they instruction tune it, means that they were able to modify its behavior so that they can take a human instruction and then respond to it by their text generation. That's exactly what this technology is. For that, recently, Microsoft has also launched its model. Please give us a little bit of insight about uh, how Microsoft trains these kind of model.
Yeah, great question. So as Nabeel mentioned, the way these transformer models work under the hood, and the transformer, think about it as just say the underlying kind of architecture inside of these GPUs that essentially run all these models at inference time, or essentially when a user is actually interacting with it. And so how the models are actually trained, one, it requires kind of two things to keep it at the most simple level possible. One, it requires a lot of compute, so a lot of infrastructure to be able to handle the training of the kind of number two, the vast amount of data. And I'm talking about billions, if not even in some cases, trillions of parameters or data sets that are procured from the World Wide Web. And what is on the World Wide Web? It's people's contributions, it's blogs, it's things that like ICAP that they may release publicly that adds value to society. And so what these models do is they essentially take all of that data, or maybe sometimes even partner with certain organizations or customers if they give explicit permission to include these in some of these large language models. Um, and then once a bunch of training data is used for, as it's called, training these models, it can take a lot of time just due to the vast variety and volume of the data that needs to be trained inside of this transformer-based model. And so then once the model is trained, then you can do what's called production inference. And I know we're going to kind of get into it, which is that's like the actual business value where you can interact with these models and it'll generate patterns and kind of sequences of characters of text or in some cases even images now with multimodality, and I think we'll get into a bit of that as well. So that's essentially kind of what Microsoft, and I'm pretty sure all the other kind of I guess competitors or other kind of LLM generative AI based products, that's kind of the fundamentals of kind of getting kickstarted and kind of how it works under the hood and how I personally deal with this as a product manager.
Thank you for that, and that's an excellent talk about how things are done generally and at Microsoft. And the good thing is about, just to give you an understanding of the kind of service these organizations like Microsoft, Facebook, and Google's are doing to us, is that like recently, one of these companies released a model which took about $28 million of computing power only to train. You know, this is a substantial amount of money that they invest to create a product, and we will learn that these products are made available to us free of cost. In many instances, there's a free version of ChatGPT, there's a free version of Gemini, but then there are free versions of what we call open source large language models that we can play for our purposes. This is a huge transfer of technology that is happening, and we must appreciate the willingness of technology to open source this technology companies to open source these technologies to us. Now, just to give you, as ice creams comes in so many different flavors, so these models, these large language models, also come in many flavors. There are two basic models. One model is called base LLM. This is a model that is simply there to produce the next series of text. So before chat gpt, the chat in chat gpt is a specific purpose. Before chat gpt there was only a gpt. So if you had talked to it saying that once upon a time there was a unicorn, it would have simply said that lived in a magical forest with all her unicorn for friends. So that gpt did not had the ability to produce text, but did not have the ability to interact with human beings. And that's what it is about, interaction. They have made, technology companies have made these models interactable. So now we have the second version, Google Gemini, ChatGPT, Llama models from Facebook, which are called instructions tune model, and they try to follow instruction. And this is what we are main concerned about. This has given rise to whole industry of prompt engineering, fine tuning. So it tries to follow prompt, and that is what in November 22 the chat gpt was launched. These are fine tuned on instruction and good attempts at following those instructions. Human reinforcement learning with human feedback is also used with that. So then what happens is that if you ask it what is the capital of France, so because of this training it now says that the capital of France is Paris. you know the first version of the model and the second version of the model, they are exactly same models. It's just that the second version of the models is now capable of following human instruction. And this is, I would like to uh, ask my audience to sort of digest and internalize this fact that these models can now follow your instructions, which means that whatever instructions you do, they will follow. And what is the art of formulating an instruction? The art of formulating this instruction is called prompt engineering. And I would like to demonstrate this art by a very funny clip from my favorite movie, Three Idiots. Let's watch this.
Nabeel, I don't think there's any sound.
Oh, sorry. Uh, how is it? Oh, I just let me check. Let me just give me feedback if you can hear it now. Can you hear it?
Nope.
Oh, I'm very sorry. Uh, Let
I
me
think
try it
maybe
one more time.
resharing your screen and saying share with audio would work.
So from where? Sorry.
Resharing the Zoom screen.
Okay. Okay, stop status, and then I will say, okay, here. Oh yeah, share sign sound. Okay, that's fine. You are right. Okay.
Instruments that record, analyze, summarize, organize, debate, and explain information that are illustrative, non-illustrative, hardbound, paperback, jacketed, non-jacketed, with forward introduction, table of contents, index that are intended for the enlightenment, understanding, enrichment, enhancement, and education of the human brain through sensory route of vision, sometimes touch.
अरे कहना क्या चाहते हो?
किताबें सर, books.
And this is a clip that I always find very funny, for various reasons. But in my mind, this clips is about what does prompt engineering is. Sometimes a better frame question is half the answer. Sometimes that answers need to be just one word called book. Sometimes you need to define it in a lengthy verbose manner for your participant to understand it, or even to make it more confusing. So if you are there to communicate with your audience, which is human audience, and right framing of question is so important, then just think how important it is to frame a question, what we called a prompt, for your purposes also. So that what's the main motivation behind our current talk is that y- our main purpose is to come here to understand that how well we able to communicate these models which have been fine tuned or instructions tuned to take and understand human prompts. And in this manner, I was further like to motivate that on internet you are going to find a lot of these kinds of advertisement, 80 best prompt for chat engineering, for marketing, for business, for finance. The main purpose, the main benefit of this technology is that you don't need to remember stuff. You don't need to summarize or memorize some underlying rules or principles through which you can uh, communicate with these models. You don't need all of that. What do you simply need is two basic principles. And now we are going to dive into um, our practical demonstration. So the basic of this demonstration is two simple things. One is you guys can hear me. I just want to confirm.
Yes.
Okay. So the basic of this demonstration is that we have got, when you are communicating with your model, there are two simple principles that you need to understand. One is give it very clear instructions. And we will learn now, we will just see what are the tactics to formulate a clear instruction. The second thing is that give model time to think. And I think first one is very intuitive. make your instructions very clear, tell it what you want to do. Give model time to think is really little bit strange, and we will discuss that also, because the large language models are essentially producing the next sequence of the words, so you can guide this model to follow a certain route to develop an answer, so that your answer is clear, the answer is facts based, and it's not giving you fake information. So just two simple principles, clear instructions, and give model time to think. And now what we have done we are now looking at some of the tactics, So the tactic is very, very simple. Uh, if you want to give it clear instructions, you can use certain tactics like use of delimiters, like triple backticks, like semicolons. So to separate different parts of your text, what we are going to now see is that one part of your text is going to be your instructions, and the other part of your prompt is going to be your data. And for model to work correctly, sometimes you need to separate these two things out so that model does not get confused. Then the second tactic that we are going to look at is to ask for an structured output. You need to tell it what kind of an output you want it from. And I will also demonstrate that, all of these things will be very clearly demonstrated, So ask for a very clear structured output. And then third tactic is that you can very clearly ask the model to check whether the conditions are satisfied. You can create certain conditions in the prompt, in the formulation of your query, and ask the model to give an output as to if these conditions have been satisfied. Few shot prompting is in essence a technique which provides an example to the model in your prompt and ask the model to follow that example, and uh, in terms of learning how that question need to be answered. And I will again demonstrate this tactic, how you can best demonstrate few shot prompting or leading by example. Tactic 5 is my favorite tactic, one of my favorite tactic, prime model to behave like an expert. You can simply ask model to behave like an accountant. You can simply ask model to behave like a marketing expert. You are simply ask the model to behave like a Python programmer. Whatever your subject matter is, you can ask your model to start behaving like that, and which will mean that you will limit or you will narrow the model focus, and it will then go through that focus, and it will produce responses in line with that focus. And then we have the second tactic, give model time to think, which means that you force model to follow certain steps that you have specified to complete the task. And also, you can ask the model to work out its own solution before rushing to a conclusion. So, give model time to think is basically asking model to produce a demonstrable path through which it has achieved its result. And this is, there's a lot of concern about these models being black boxes, the output of these models not being verifiable. As a qualified, as an accountant, as an auditor, as someone who is tracing, financials, uh, you can ask this model to specify or prove how it has come to that response, or how it has come to that conclusion. So from an accountant and auditor mindset is a great tool to understand the output. Farzad, what do you think about these tactics? How have you applied them in your life to prompt engineering some use cases.
Yeah, no, I think these are great. And the simplest thing that anyone can do is leverage the instructions or best practices of prompt engineering that the actual large language model provider puts out because they know best because they created it, they procured it, and it's their training data. And when they did their validation and testing, they clearly had prompts that worked really, really well, and they had some prompts that maybe didn't work very well. And so the ones you see here are precisely, I think, what I would recommend. I'll just add a few more
Yes,
that are quite
please.
basic. So one is if you can use the latest model. The advances in how a lot of these big technology companies like Microsoft, like Google Gemini, the latest model is always going to have the highest relevance or the best performance, and we use benchmarks. Partner with customers to actually evaluate the efficacy and the effectiveness of each one of these large language models. And additionally, you definitely want to be kind of specific and descriptive, as detailed as possible, and actually give examples of the desired output or structure that you want the large language model to actually give something back to you. And so the concept as tactic 4 here is few shot prompting is probably the best possible one that I would advise. Because a lot of people think I could just randomly type anything I want and it's a magic black box at the snap of a finger. It'll analyze a full SEC report or financial analyst for me perfectly, beautifully. Then I could go send it to my client or my manager, whoever it might be. But a lot of times it had the potential to do that, but you have to help the model out. So giving it as much context and as much help through this concept of few shot prompting is really, I think, the biggest piece of advice that I could tell customers and everyone on the call today.
Thanks a lot for that. And you are absolutely spot on. Two things is that the nature of prompt is going to be iterative. Use the latest models and few short promptings. And don't worry about it. If it sounds a little bit abstract, we are going to demonstrate all of this. And as Farzad has said that like anything that you are developing, you need to go through an iterative process. These prompts are not magic. Nothing in this is magic. It's all science. And with that, you need to have a mindset. That's why I'm saying more about let your imagination run, because when you leave let your imagination run, you work it in an easygoing manner, in a free spirit manner. You are enjoying it, and you then develop these prompts that are iterative in nature and then work exactly to your best use case, because that is very important. There is no generic solutions here. Everything will be specific to your own requirement. And with this, we are coming to an interface introduction. I would like to introduce ChatGPT, Gemini, and other interface, and will show you that. And after that, I'm coming to that. The the one of the other best things that you can have is that you can use these GPTs against each other. Always open ChatGPT, Gemini, and any other model that you have got access to, and use your prompt on different models. Compare your output, and with time you will develop intuition that some models are working better on some tasks than other, at least for your use cases. Although these models are quite capable and very robust, and very comparable, but maybe for your particular use case or the way you are designing a prompt, these work in some work better than other. So I just want to give an introduction of the ChatGPT interface. So this is the main interface of ChatGPT. I hope many of you have seen it. You simply type chat.openai.com, or just Google uh, uh, ChatGPT, you know, and you can say, Chat GPT, and it will find a link. You click on this link. I register it by my Google account route. You can register it with your own account, and it will bring you to here. Now, on my upper left hand, you are seeing different models that are available here. I've got two models available. ChatGPT 3.5 is a free version, and that's I was telling is that it's such a huge favor from these technology companies that they are making all of these models available to general public. So these models, this is a ChatGPT 3.5 version. It's a free version, but it comes with certain limitations. The one limitation it has is that you cannot upload any document to it, But there is a way around to it. And ChatGPT 4 is is the paid subscription based version, which subscription is about $20 per month. And I would say this provides you with a lot of abilities. This provides you with an ability to upload document, and I will demonstrate that. But then it provides you for other abilities, like they have opened something called GPT stores, which is basically like your Google and Apple store. So there are a lot of applications or uh, model structures that everyone is building on top of GPTs, and those you can utilize for your purposes. And then you have got something called plugins. These plugins are now being developed, which again increase the ability of the model to do specific tasks like reading PDF or giving an output and things like that. But even if you just want to work with free version 3.5, don't worry about it. And it's so much far powerful for you, even without spending a penny, to use it for your personal and organizational need. And then similarly, I have got Google Gemini here. Again, Google Gemini is the Google power model. It has got a lot of its interface is exactly same. I don't have a pro version of it, so it's not showing it. If I want, I can just upgrade it. It will give me I think they have launched at this moment a 2 months period where you can actually subscribe it for free of charge. You probably need to give your credit card details. But we will demonstrate that even with basic abilities, you can see so much more. And then I just want to touch on the what is called API, which is application programming interface. And what I'm doing here is that I'm just logging in through my email. So what API is that it's a way to interact with this model programmatically. So if you are a CFO, if you are a senior manager, and you want to create a full end-to-end application using ChatGPT or even Google Gemini, you will have to use mainly APIs, which are very easy to use, and your technology team will know. And through this, you can have a lot of interaction. I will give you an example of an interaction that I was having for my one of my accounting use case. So there's a lot of ways and powers to interact with these models, and we have got this model here. So my first use case that I'm just going to share with you is a use case that every one of us in finance is very well aware of. And for that, I am going to use ChatGPT 4. This is only place where I'm going to use ChatGPT 4, but I will then subsequently use ChatGPT 3.5, which is the free version for different kind of use cases. So in order to give you a sort of um, background of these use cases, I am going to see what is generative AI capabilities. So we have what can generative AI use can do for you. It can be used for at a high level. It can be used for summarization of text. You know, It can be used for inference. Inference means it can detect sentiments, emotions, topic. It can extract topics and it can do more. It can transform your text. It can translate into different languages. It can do spelling and grammar change. It can do tone adjustment and format conversion also. And all of this will be coming in my practical demonstration. It can expand. It can generate emails. It can communicate. Uh, so these are the use cases we are going to use, and then I have created some specific use case for finance, which I'm going to go through all of them. I've prepared for them, and you guys will take a lot of fun in dealing with them. We can have a review and comparison of financial statement. We can improve readability and clarity of financial communication. We can manage compliance risk, analyzing information, gathering, reporting. We can do fraud detection through anomaly review. And I've got a very interesting practical use case of fraud detection in finance operations, which I will demonstrate. We can do staff training through scenario generation. We can do chatbots for internal and external customers of finance. Building chatbot is a technical exercise, but very interestingly, in the paid version of ChatGPT, there is a facility to create a chatbot. And I will demonstrate that ability here also. So, without further ado, I'm just going to dive straight into my first scenario. And my first scenario using ChatGPT 4, which is a paid version, is review and comparison of financial statement. What I'm just going to do here is that I'm going to upload uh, HSBC financial statement. Now, HSBC financial statement is, if you guys know these kind of financial statement, this is a 432 pages document, very complex, long piece of text. It has got tables in it. It has got a lot of text in it. It has got a very diversified kind of information set that is coming through. And all I need to do is to give it this text which it is uploading. Now, once I have uploaded this text, I am going to give it a prompt, and this is where the fun happens starts. But I am hopefully that you guys are still having a lot more fun. Now, here you will see different tactics of prompt engineering in action. It's saying that you are an accountant and a specialist in financial analysis and reporting. So I am priming it to become a financial expert. I'm saying that you can review complex financial information. Yes. You can review complex financial information and analyze it with aim to comprehensive and factual responses. You are being provided with financial statement of HSBC Bank. You are required to review it so that you can specifically answer questions. Your answer should be clear and structured in either bullet points or separate paragraph. Now look at here. You might have remembered that I have one of the tactics of prompt engineering is the kind of output you want. Then I'm saying your answer should not be more than 200 words long. Your answer should only be based on material provided. And now look at it. Please reference to page number of paragraph from which you have extracted your response. Please acknowledge this message and wait for my prompt. So you can see that I have guided this model. I have guided ChatGPT, and I've asked it, and I have focused it and have prohibited it from using anything else. Now let's start by by doing some other, before we dive into financial information, just ask it, information that you might be interested as a reviewer or an investor, like what have been key changes in management during the year. So I have asked it a question that can be located anywhere. It can be first page, it can be 10th page, it can be anywhere. And the way I have commanded it, the way I have prompted it, now it is reading this document, and now what it's doing is that it's providing me with a response.
So Nabeel, what is it generating here? I see that it's taking a little bit of time, but what's kind of going on the second you hit enter on when you ask for the key changes?
So basically, what has happened is that I think there's some load capacity issue at ChatGPT side. But what it has done is that it has gone through this document and it has identified based on my prompt that what have been key changes in top level management during the year, and it has now produced me with this response. So these are the factual information is saying that the CFO has changed. There's a transition. A new CFO has been deployed. The board departures have happened. Future plans, and also it has provided me with key information as to from where it has picked this information up. So you can see that how well phrased it is in terms of its response. Now I can ask it uh, a key financial question, and but let's say I want to analyze the revenue of the group, and I want to analyze how uh, to analyze different changes in group revenue during the year. But I'm like thinking, what kind of a questions I have asked. I know it's prompt engineering, but I don't know how many questions I can ask it or what kind of question they may be. What I can ask is that provide a list of 5 questions based on uploaded documents that could be used to analyze revenue. So it works both way. You can not only answer it the question, ask it questions, but you can also ask it to analyze this document and provide um, a list of questions that you can ask from this purpose. And all of this because what my prompt is very specifically asking it to only focus on the document provided. It is only going to review this document and it going to provide me with a response based on this document. So it's saying that how interest rate is has impact on revenue, client activity, and market volatility. So it has saying that it has asked these questions based on information from HSBC and final information. Very interesting question. How did global interest rate rises contribute to adjusted revenue growth in 2022, specifically within commercial banking and global banking and market sector? And what was the impact on net income growth? I'm just going to simply copy this question, which is suggested by ChatGPT, and we'll just paste it here. So I'm asking it a question that it has provided me with. So this is the power, that it can ask you. You can not only ask it a question, but also can ask it to provide you with the kind of a question that can help you with analysis, because it now has digested this document that I provided to it, and it can now read it and can formulate its responses based on this question. So what it is producing, it based on the document, it is not using its journal information. It's coming specifically to this document. And for a human being, that kind of analysis might take at least few hours to go through, understand, and analyze. So the change in productivity is humongous. It's so much more productive now. So this is a case which I'm using with ChatGPT 4, which is a paid version. And I know not everyone can use a paid version of it. But so we will move away from the paid version, and we will move more into ChatGPT 3.5, which is a free version of it, and we will work through that. So uh, now we are going to look into a case from HSBC annual financial statement. And financial statements are bread and butter of accountants. And I'm just going to demonstrate how well you can use it, even the free version of ChatGPT and Google Gemini. So this is a page of performance of HSBC Bank financial information. Now, what I'm just going to do is that I'm going to copy and paste this I'm going to use this information. And what I'm going to do is that I've created a prompt which I'm going to copy here, free version of ChatGPT. And what is it saying? That you are an accountant, a specialist in financial analysis and reporting. You are expert in investor relationship and can write communication that could clearly present financial information to them. So what I'm now doing is that I am priming it to become an expert. You are provided with extract from financial statement of HSBC in triple backticks below. That was one of our tactics to separate the instruction from the data. Write a press release to investor to present this information. You need to tell it very clearly what kind of output you want. you know as I said, a better phrase question is half the answer. You need to phrase your question as clearly as possible. What do you want it to do? How you want it to do? What kind of output you want it from it? Your release should be in formal tone. Even tone is very important. You should answer in no more than 250 words, and your answer should be divided in 3 paragraphs. I have asked it a response in very specific manner. you know so I'm now giving it three black ticks. I'm copying this information, and again you can see this information is very unstructured. It is it is a lot of text uh, in different paragraphs that it has got. I'm going to simply copy it, coming here into free version, which any one of you can use. And I would sort of ask my audience to work with me here. Open ChatGPT or Gemini, write a similar kind of prompt, and just find whatever information you can find nearby. And I'm pasting all this information here. It is in a very unstructured manner. I'm not trying to label it. I'm not trying to clear it. I'm just trying to upload it here. So now you can see it has given me answer. It's saying the HSBC is pleased to report significant strides. It has given a heading: HSBC demonstrate progress against financial targets and strategic objective. HSBC is pleased to report significant stride in meeting its financial target and strategic objective. It's using numbers saying equity stands at 9.9% with a target trajectory of exceeding 12% from 2023. Adjusted operating expenses have been maintained and all of this. So all of that information that I copied it here, it has made use of that information. Now let's just play with Google Gemini also. Gemini is equally more powerful large language model from Google. I am going to just bring it here. And I'm going to copy the same prompt and same data into the free version of Google Gemini. And now Google Gemini is working its magic. And Google Gemini has uh, produced an output in a slightly different manner. Same prompt, different kind of output. And you can say that it has taken more heed to the fact that I have asked it to be more formal. HSBC announces progress towards financial target and strategic ambitions. It has used all that information. It has created paragraphs. It has created headlines. So it has created a little bit more formal style than before, than compared to ChatGPT. And so that is where your innovation, your experimentation will come into be. How are you seeing that, Farzad? How are these capabilities seems like magic to us, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely seems like magic, but under the hood, like the amount of AI infrastructure and architecture that's actually being done, this has been decades of investment that AI researchers, data scientists, data engineers, software engineering professionals have put into enabling this. So yeah, it definitely seems like magic, and the ability for anyone to just leverage these, I think, adds a lot of business value.
And exactly, I totally agree with you, and thanks to technology companies like Microsoft, which are providing us with these tools and techniques. Now, one of the things I'm now going to play with this chat a little bit, and this is where the fun is. Um, you can, when you are looking into capabilities, you can infer sentiments and you can transform it, language, format conversion also. Now we are going to play with it a little bit. What's the fun? I'm just going to give it a small prompt. Right above in a semi-formal manner. So I'm now asking it to change its tone, because when you are communicating, you communicate for your audience. You probably had a more formal audience. Now you want to probably go for Facebook or X, and you want to have it a little bit more semi-formal tone. So now what it's going to do is that it's going to change its tone. uh, Funny. So the tone has become little bit more informal, and now we are going to contrast it further. I'm saying it's a right in a humor, humorous manner. So I'm now going to say that make it bit humorous. Maybe I had uh, some kind of audience, maybe some young people, and I want to make it like that. So HSBC making financial progress one giggle at a time. Hold on your head, spoke. HSBC here to shake up financial world with some seriously impressive progress. So just think about it. You now have ability to play with this thing as many different ways as possible. I have got Google Bird. I am going to ask it even of more different tone. Uh, write this for teenagers. Maybe HSBC wants to address its uh, performance to teenagers, and I'm now going to ask it to produce a, you know, in a way which teenagers will more respond to. And I can ask both ChatGPT, I can ask Gemini, with it, and it will change it. So rather than producing things, you can ask it to simply uh, produce stuff, then change it according to your requirement. So this is such an interesting way, and and also you have a power to convert it into different manners. Like I'm going to ask Gemini that create output in French. Language conversion is something that these models are so good at. So I'm saying that put it into French language, and just like that, it will convert it into French language. So, and I have checked it before. Uh, so maybe it has gone a bit confused here. So what I was saying is that it has been trained on a lot of data, and that data is not necessarily just English data. That data has been in as many languages as available on internet, and you can see it can translate it just like that between languages. So that is such a huge power of these, and there are so many different use cases that I want to demonstrate in simply in terms of tone, in terms of transforming text. But I am a bit limited by my time here. So keeping in track of time, I'm moving on uh, to another use case in terms of financial statement. And what I'm now going to do is that, and again, or we are all now working in a free version, which you can all use. Uh, so I'll just come here, just clean message. So what I'm just going to do is that I'm just going to copy note to the financial statement. And this is what I'm just trying to demonstrate the power even of the free version, that what it can do for you. So I will pick up this note, and I will just copy this note. And what I'm just going to do here, so I've already created a prompt, and I'm going to do that. And I'm going to ask my audience to do similar thing, uh, if you have got any available financial information. What I've done is that I have again prompted it saying that you are an accountant, a specialist in financial analysis and reporting. You can write complex financial information and analyze it with aim to provide comprehensive and factual responses. Provided below in triple back text is a note from financial statement regarding lending to the customers. Uh, I will just change it. Unobservable input into level 3 valuations. What are three key insights you can gather from this data? Your answer should be clear and structured in either bullet points or separate paragraph. Your answer should not be more than 100 words long, and your answer should only be based on material provided. So the risk is that, of it's called so-called hallucination. We have covered up this risk. It's only going to look into the information that is there. This is the free version. You can use it today. All you have to do is to create a prompt and copy paste that information. And now look at it, three key insight from level 3 valuation, diverse valuation techniques. The asset spans various categories: volatility and correlation, risk management, challenges. You can do exactly same thing with Gemini. Again, a version available to you. Just to keep it clean, I will just open a new window. And look at it. It feels to me that when it comes to financial information, the publicly available model of Gemini is performing better than ChatGPT. You can see that, saying that private equity holdings are the largest component of level 3 valuation with a fair value of 16,318 millions. Equity volatility is a key factor. The fair value of other portfolio categories has significantly decreased from 6,789 million. Now you can just see is that this information is tabular. It has got lot of information here. It's not very easy to look at and comprehend, and how quickly the publicly available tools you can use with some decent prompt engineering, you know, may make it an accountant, specialist in financial analysis and reporting, and then it will do its magic. And with Google, the thing is that it provides multiple drafts of the same information, and this draft is more sort of figures oriented, which is, I think, good for some people, but for other purposes, you might be using something which does not need that many figures. So this is again an amazing thing. Uh, Farzad, how do you see comparison between different models when we are trying to analyze some information?
Yeah, I'll keep it short and concise. I think every LLM, I think I answered this question in the Q&A as well on Zoom. Every LLM has its strengths and weaknesses. Just like
Yeah.
Nabeel is probably a way better accountant than me, but I might be a little bit more skilled in engineering per se. And so LLMs are the same way. The training data and how the actual AI researchers process the information to eventually give it back to the user. Some of the training data may be more finance heavy or more math heavy. And the actual models used to actually run this, some may have better mathematical and analytical reasoning capabilities than others. So in short, I think try out as many LLMs as you can. Do your research just from what a lot of people experimenting with these at scale are doing. And if you find that maybe Gemini works better for your use case for analyzing financial statements, use Gemini. If ChatGPT works better for it, use ChatGPT, whatever model version. So it depends on your use case and the task you're trying to solve.
Yes, and as you are totally agree with you, Farzad. And as you are experimenting with these models, I would say that experimenting with as many models as possible, and as you said before, try to use the latest version of these models. So that is the key insight. I hope you guys are having a good time looking through this information, looking through how easy it is to use this tool. And me and Farzad are having definitely a fun time exploring these capabilities and having a good chat among ourselves. Fraud detection is a very, very, very good topic, and I have always come across with this question. People say that how can we use ChatGPT to identify fraud? And I was thinking about it, how I can do this here. So I have got a very simple use case, but very powerful demonstration of these model capabilities. So basically, if you are working in operational finance, if you are working in HR or whichever department you are working in, you might receive a lot of emails from potential customers or client, and someone might try to hack you or get social engineering from you by using emails. Maybe you are working in or your department is working in operational finance, they pay to suppliers, and someone comes to you imposing as a supplier using their email address, and then asking you to change their bank account information, and then you are very not sure whether, hold on a second, why can I verify it through some way, you know so without calling them, or they might not be reachable or something like that. And so I've created a very simple example here that is more from HR, but you can always also use similarly it in operational finance or other areas of finance. I've said to my model, you're a fraud expert. You work in HR department to detect fraudulent emails for potential roles. Specifically, you compare emails. Now you are telling the model how to perform your task. Specifically, you compare emails to identify if they are from same person or source. You compare language used in different emails to identify if they are consistent with previous writing style. Below, you will find two emails in triple backticks that are claiming to be from same recruiters. You will compare their language and will identify if they are same recruiters or not. I will just take this one out for now. Your response should be a single sentence. If you identify that they are not from the same person, then you will output a message. Be aware potential fraud, otherwise, you will give output as all is well. And I've randomly copied two emails from two different recruiters, and now see the magic. Be aware fraud. How quick. So they are from two different sources. I'm a bit curious, and I want to say that uh, please provide your analysis as to how you have worked out your final response in less than 100 words. So I am now asking you to do that. So basically, it's saying that it's a potential fraud, and these two emails are are of significantly different style. The first email is more formal and structured, focus on job response requirements, responsibilities, while the second email is more informal and personalized, addressing the recipient by name and discussing their background. Additionally, the role described in the email have different focuses and requirements. Therefore, it is likely that these emails are not from the same recruiters. Hence, the output would be aware potential fraud. Just by analyzing the language, and we will use Gemini also, just by analyzing the language, these models can understand and can help you to identify potential fraud. All definitely, it has to be put into a system. Someone needs to do some development across it. But this is an excellent demonstration of how it works. Here is saying the email one formal tone, specific skill listed, mentions client location details provided, informal greeting mentions you, describe company growth, focusing on role responsibilities, differences, tone, formal versus informal, focus skill versus company details, terminology, client versus you. Conclusion, the different writing style used to suggest that these emails are not from the same recruiter. So you can understand that even in a basic manner, even in a basic prompt, these uh, models are so competent to analyze text and provide you with these kind of outputs. So here is a simple demonstration of how it can be used in fraud. For that, fraud is a big thing on everyone's mind. How do you see your client asking you the models help in detecting fraud or fraudulent situations?
Yeah, LLMs are great for a lot of things, such as content generation, writing emails, writing code. I think both of us use it for writing code,
Yeah.
but it's also good for fraud detection. And we see a lot of the clients that I work with, and whether you're a big four accounting firm, a bank, a oil and gas company, whatever it may be, fraud detection is something that LLMs. It actually may be smarter than a human trying to detect fraud with the naked eye, or using tasks that human may have a potential for making human error. And sometimes specific softwares can be very costly to detect fraud, especially at scale. So getting crafty with how you leverage LLMs and different design patterns, such as retrieval augmented generation, I know we talked about, or RAG, and of course LLMs and the different context windows, they could definitely be used for fraud, as long as, going back to the earlier point, as long as you're specific and concise in the prompt that you're giving
Hmm.
it in terms of what you want the LM to do. That's how you could leverage it at scale for fraud detection.
Thank you, Prad. Amazing, and I think all of our audience, should be taking heat from this information, and just see that so much power and technology has been given in their hands, and hopefully they are seeing that they need some basic few principles and tactics and the flight of imagination to do that. I think I'm conscious of time, so I will do one final demonstration, and but I think this is a demonstration everyone or from the accounting side will find very interesting. So we know here that we talk about this tactic: give model time to think, specify steps to complete the task, and instruct model to work out its own solution before rushing to a conclusion. And I have got a demo that do it very well, and I'm going to just copy and paste it here. And again, I would just say that this is from ChatGPT 3.5, which is uh, a free to use version of the ChatGPT. So now I'm just going to copy and paste a scenario. And the scenario is that you have got some cost accounting solution question, and you are trying to predict some cost accounting. So I'm just telling that you are a qualified accountant that is expert in estimating cost for accounting purposes. Your task is determine if the accountant solution is correct or not. So you have got a question and you have got a solution. Question is that building solar panel installation, and you need working out the financial land cost is this, buy solar panels for this much, contract maintenance cost is this much, and variable cost is this much. So what is the total cost for the first year of operation as a function of number of square feet? So you are asking it to create you are trying to create a sort of an equation. Here you have worked it out for yourself, and you are asking it to rework it out. And you are giving it a prompt. You are saying it that use the following format. Question here, accountant solution, accounting solution here, actual solution. Is the accountant solution the same as actual solution? Yes or no? Accountant grade, correct or no? So you are asking it to work out a solution that has been provided to you, to recalculate the solution and then work out an actual solution. And he's saying that no, the accounting solution is not the same, is a wrong solution, because they have made a mistake here in terms of the variable cost, and it has given you a right response. So this is this is an amazing power of these LLMs, that this is called uh, you do here we are asking it to work it out its own solution, and it has done a reasonable calculation for you. And one final thing, which will demonstrate a few short prompting, is that I there is a question that is related to a question is that a bank earns bank interest income of $300 per month, 30,000 bank interest income. Sorry, the question is that as of 31st December, you have got some accruals and prepayments, and you want it to classify them and present the amount that will be there in those financial statements. One is about your prepaid your loan to an employee, which was paid after the year end, prepaid insurance premium, rent due. And what I've again done is that your accountant, you're providing with details. I've given it, follow these steps to decide that for each item, first identify company year end, second consider where the item is an asset or liability, decide how much period is left. And then I have given it a few short prompting that I have giving it a similar kind of question and have given it an answer to that question. And you can see that I'm not writing any complex code. I'm not writing anything other than just English language words, and I'm using my domain expertise to formulate a query, a prompt, a question, and I'm asking it for an answer, something that all accountants, all auditors, all financial people can understand. Just the way you construct these things is following a structure. And now what is happening is that it's now analyzing it. It is giving you an output. It's telling you loan to the employee, date of the transaction, type asset, paid or received paid, amount to be included 12,000, annual insurance premium, date of transaction, type asset, prepaid or received paid, period left after the month, 4 months, amount to be included 3,000, rent received. And then it is saying that, okay, 12,000 of this, 3,000 of prepaid insurance, 4,000 of this, and it's giving you all of that answer. So you have not left it to be a black box. You have not left it to do anything which you cannot verify. You have asked it not only the answer, but also the steps it should take to produce that answer and demonstrate its working. And this is what we called here instruct model to work out its own solution before rushing to a conclusion, specify steps to complete the task, ask model to behave like an expert, few short promptings. So we are using multiple techniques to make it to work, you know. So I hope you guys have learned a lot from this demonstration. And so we will just continue our journey. I'm cautious of time, so we will wrap with some key technological innovations that are going on, and Farzad will take a bit of a lead on that. So one other trend that is happening is that for if you are a large organization and if you are thinking about building your own internal systems, you might think about how can I use these models for myself. And for that purposes, as I said in the beginning, we have got a whole host of open source large language models that have been made available by these technology companies. And I have called it like an animal kingdom before, because very uh, you know curiously, a lot of these models are named on animals like llama, alpaca, falcon. So these are a lot of names model. These are models that are named after animals. So I this is sort of a funny take on the situation. Uh, so for your own company, you can create your own GPT. As I said, that era of open source large language models is upon us. Llama 2 cost Facebook $28 million, yet it is available free to anyone for fine tuning and application development. And there's a RAG technology that can incorporate RAG is called retrieval augmented generation, which is a framework to develop application that will serve your own organization needs. Um, and Farzad is now giving us talk on two very interesting use cases that are there. So Farzad, please talk us through these examples.
Yeah, for sure. I think just for time's sake, I'll probably just do the PwC one because I think
Okay.
it's quite interesting. So yeah, so in a nutshell, PwC is one of our largest customers in Microsoft, and they use a lot of this technology to actually build their own chat GPT on their own data. And those of you who may have experience at a big four or a big bank, you have tons of data, terabytes of data. And when Nabeel showed doing this kind of in-session chats with copy and pasting from data, like that's useful, but how do you actually do this at scale if you are trying to analyze information or have a task to solve, but your data may be in multiple different repositories? And so PwC in this use case, they actually are building a next generation audit platform. And this use case is essentially using Microsoft technologies like Azure OpenAI, which is the same models that power the OpenAI ChatGPT interface, and Azure AI Search to essentially build a really advanced and robust kind of a ChatGPT-like experience for essentially automating a lot of the audit workloads globally for PwC employees. So I highly recommend if anyone wants to read more from the business value of what PwC is doing, you could click the link in the read full story here and learn more about it.
Thank you for that superb explanation. And as you know, it is not for future. Organization are already use this technology. One final thing that I would ask to say is that when you are dealing with with these open source companies, with these big organizations, you are sending your data. You need to understand the risks that are involved with your data. Are these organizations, and you can create a think it in terms of a framework, different kind of privacy that these cloud forms are providing to you. Do they provide you with any guarantees? Do they provide you that with assurance that no outside exposure to your data will be given, or whether the employees or internal people have limited or unlimited access to your data, or whether your data is totally secure and access free from any external access, like WhatsApp provide with their encryption. Always read their terms of service and use is very important, because they might say that they can use your data for training these large language models. So with that, my final thought is that we started with a journey of motivation. I asked you why you are here. What is your why for joining us today, or what is your why for being interested in this conversation? I hope we have been able to encourage you, enlighten you, and excite you for this purpose. So over to you, Aisha. If there are any question and answers, we are definitely happy to take them.
Thank you, Mr. Nabeel and Mr. Farzad, for such an informative and interactive sections. The tactics and prompts you have introduced to us will surely be very helpful for all of us. Thanks for your output, Mr. Nabeel and Mr. Farzad. Well, our expert speakers try to answer all the questions dropped in the Q&A box. I hope all the questions of the participants have answered really well. Mr. Farzad, do you want to answer any of the question live, or you have done with the answering the questions?
I think there's a bunch. I think Nabeel and I will try and do our best offline. So yeah, I think we could proceed.
Yeah, okay. So,
I think, yeah, you want me to answer a few questions?
Yeah, if you want to answer a few of the questions, you can.
Yeah, so I would say someone asked a question. I think there were 2 or 3 key questions around the same idea, that can you upload multiple documents like annual reports, market data from different websites, customer details, data from Excel and other, and then ask ChatGPT to combine multiple sources and then suggest as the insight. Someone said that if you are a large company, can you use web links? So I'm saying that yes, in the paid version of both ChatGPT and Gemini, there is a facility to incorporate external source of data, ability to read website data, ability to read Excel. All of that is there, and it can digest all that information. But the thing is that you need to be very creative in terms of prompting, and if this is a particular use case that your organization want to combine data from multiple sources, then you need to first play with these available resources through ChatGPT, or you might need to do your own development through RAG.